Aloha and welcome to Reiki Riches, Full Moon Spotlight, where we celebrate the unity and diversity of Reiki practitioners and the infinite ways Reiki enriches our lives. Today, the spotlight is on Muniqui Muhammad. Muniqui is a Usui Holy Fire 3 World Peace Karuna Reiki Master Teacher, certified spiritual life coach, certified Reiki healing drumming teacher, and Reiki Sonics practitioner. He is co-founder of Healing Land Reiki in Japan with his partner, Lena Takahashi. They share both in-person and online distant Reiki sessions and teach both in-person and online trainings of all levels from Reiki I and II, Reiki Master, and Karuna Reiki Master. His passion is to expand Reiki awareness, knowledge, and training to people who could benefit from Reiki but are underrepresented, such as men and communities of color. Thank you so much for being here today, Muniqui.
Aloha to you, Taylor, and thank you for extending your podcast, your interview space to me and Healing Land Reiki. It's much appreciated.
Absolutely. Well, please, we are all on the edge of our seat. How did you find Reiki? What is your Reiki discovery story?
I've always been a spiritual person, and I was born into Islam, went away from it like a lot of people went away from their life. Life took me in different directions and brought me back to being an active practicing Muslim. Now, that's important for my personal story because when I moved to Japan in 1998, like a few years later, around 2001, 2002, or something like that, I was in a bookstore and just looking around, seeing what was on the shelves, and I came across a book that said the original Reiki handbook of Mikao Usui. Now, at the time, I had never heard of it or nothing's, and I just was looking around, and I picked it up, looked at it, and something said to me, this is going to come in handy one day. Of course, I was by myself. I didn't know and see anyone around, but I had enough spiritual experiences to know that when something is said like that and it had a very specific sound to it, follow it. So I flipped through the book. Okay, didn't quite resonate, but I bought the book and I put it on my shelf, and it stayed there for about 12 years. Now, in this time, I've met Lena and we are doing things, this, that, and the other. And she takes a trip to India to something she's always wanted to do. And when she comes back, she's not feeling herself. She's just off. It's like something came back with her. That's her language for it. So she's trying different things to shake it off, and it wasn't working. And then one of our mutual friends says, why don't you try Reiki? And Lena was like, she had never heard of it. And what's this? And so one day we were like doing some other work. And so she asked me, have you heard of this thing called Reiki? And after 12 years, that book popped into my mind. And so I would go to my shelf and I pull off the shelf and I say, oh, you mean this? And so like, yeah. Now, if you know the original Reiki handbook, the style of language of it is a translation from Japanese, so it may not quite flow if you're not really up on the kind of language it has. So the mutual friend says that she had a Reiki practitioner who was coming to our town to do Reiki sessions. So Lena booked an appointment. She was overwhelmed and like other things happened to her. And she was telling me that you need to get yourself a session and everything. Now, I may be, and so I may be skipping ahead to your next question, but it's important to know that I was like a lot of guys, like, yeah, 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 I'll get it. I'll get to it, in time. And I intended to get to it, but I was really of the mindset that, I've been practicing spiritual practices and I had done studies of others for about 20 years now. What's this thing, Reiki? What could it do for me that I didn't already have? And so I was like, yeah, 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 I'll get to it. Yeah, 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 it's no big deal. But one day I got on a Reiki table for the first time. And first I was like, okay, what's going on? And it's like, wait, something happening? And the next thing you know, as I was out. Next thing I know, I'm waking up and the world was quieter than it had ever been. I was walking around doing like this, like, is this really the world? Like, because I had been reset energetically in that one Reiki session in a way that I have not felt before. And when I finally came down off of that Reiki high, and it was like, I know so many people who know nothing about this just the way I do. I never knew it was possible to feel that just relaxed and like a brand new dish that has never had any water and it never been touched. If I could feel that good, I know so many people who need to have the same experience. And I said, I have to learn about this. I have to learn this, or whatever this is, so I can help share it because I feel too good to keep this to myself. I can't keep this to myself, how good I feel. From that day forward, I have been studying Reiki and this interconnectedness to everything for like hours a day. That's literally what I do. I study Reiki and its connectedness to all the other things for hours a day. And so that is my Reiki story.
I love it. I love it. That's
Yeah,
so
yeah, your smile
beautiful.
is so big.
Well, it shifted, like the whole energy shifted when you described the experience, the Reiki experience. Like I felt the experience immediately, that just that ultimate Reiki bliss, peace, relaxation, nothing but love and pure energy that is. It's like, it's the most sublime experience that I've ever had.
It is. And I brought up the fact that I am a practicing Muslim exactly for this point because maybe I'll let you ask the second question because it's the second question. So, like,
Yeah.
because it goes into that, because that part about it's the most sublime experience you've ever had. So I'll let you continue to ask.
Yeah. So you want to talk about the limiting beliefs and myths you had to overcome in order to even entertain the idea of getting on the table the first time?
Yes, that's where I went a little bit, and I want to go there now because people have different walks of life. And as a person who is a practitioner of a faith tradition, and everyone has their own stuff. I had been studying and practicing and studying my own personal religion and learning about other things and other practices of life for a while. So what Lena was describing to me about what she felt when she had a Reiki session, I was like, yeah, I get those. I get those things often too. So what? Congratulations! I'm happy for you. You finally found something that enhances you. Great. So I did not think that there was anything that Reiki could show me or teach me, because I had already been connected to spirituality and self-improvement and high vibrational thought and getting downloads and all of those things that we associate with Reiki. Well, I already was getting those things in my own spiritual life, and I did not think it was I didn't think that this Reiki thing could do anything for me that I was not already receiving, knowing whatever, like if you're, and I'll say it this way, you could say I was a little arrogant, because it was almost like, I've been doing spiritual practices for over 20 years. What could this possibly tell me or show me that I don't already know? And that's where the surprise came in, is because I did receive something that I had not experienced before. And so I had to overcome my own biases that I thought I already had an understanding of the spiritual laws of nature, or however you want to call it, to enough to, like, okay, yeah, Reiki is something good for someone else who may need it, but I already got something. But what Reiki did for me is it took what I already had and refined it, and is taking it to another level that I did not know possible. It's like you have a nice vehicle you're traveling in, and now suddenly you're getting something that gives it extra boost of speed or extra power that you didn't know you had access to, and you didn't even know that you just didn't know you didn't have, because you're already moving along at a good clip. But wow, I can do other things too now. And there's it has expanded Reiki has expanded my abilities, my knowledge, and has accessorized and enhanced what I already had for my own spirituality. But it's also opened doors for me to communicate with people who I normally would not have communicated with. But in order to get there, I had to be humbled to realize there are other things you don't know. And just because you know something doesn't mean you know everything. And so that is what I had to overcome, the limiting beliefs. Just because you know something doesn't mean you know everything. And there's always more to learn.
Right. Yeah. Like feeling fulfilled in your more religious spiritual path, and overcoming this idea that there could possibly be more to feel and more to discover, because you're already feeling and discovering so much and learning so much. I think that's such an important perspective to be sharing to other people who might be coming from a more traditional or religious background, that they can experience even more, and that Reiki so beautifully synergizes with anything else that is for the highest good, including other spiritual traditions. So that's so beautiful. I'm glad you were able to access that humility and give Reiki a try to see where else you could expanding your horizons even further.
Thank you so much for saying that. I have found that because I'm a multilingual person, I have found that learning Reiki has showed me that there's many different languages of spiritual, mental, and physical enhancement. And when you know one language, some people are monolingual. They'll stay with the one language they speak, meaning I know this language of this one. But one thing about Reiki is that when we say it's universal, it really allows you to speak to different people in different areas, different lanes, if you know how to speak their spiritual language, you can speak the language of Reiki in a way that communicates to them and that they can accept it if you know the language of Reiki well enough, and then realize that you have to sometimes translate the language of Reiki into the language that's spoken by other people. Oh, you're saying this. Yes, that's what I'm saying. At the same time, I wouldn't say that to these people over here. So you have to be multilingual in your spirit, in your way of speaking. And Reiki has enhanced, in my opinion, my ability to do that.
That sounds like a cool superpower to me.
I think everyone has that superpower. Some people access it more than others. Some people don't know they have it, but everyone has that ability.
It's different. Yeah, it's different how it can show up for different people. Like Reiki guided me to astrology, which is another universal symbolic language. So yeah, I think it can totally activate. And I mean, that's really in that mental emotional symbol, right? That we get immediately in level 2. So it's built into the system. Yeah.
Yes, that's the beauty of it.
Well, is there an experience you would like to share that's been particularly profound or is highlighting to be shared right now in this moment to this audience and these people who you may be reaching at this time?
I've been thinking about so many this morning, and I'll just give this one. And there's a couple of them that I could give, but I'll give this one. In 2019, before the pandemic started, there was the World Parkinson's Congress hold this meeting every 3 years, and where they gather the best minds and knowledge of how to treat Parkinson's disease, which we know Michael J. Fox, the actor, currently has, and Muhammad Ali, may Allah be pleased with him. He had Parkinson's syndrome. But Parkinson's is a really serious condition, and it's really affecting a lot of people. And so they were coming to hold their Congress in Japan, in Kyoto, of all places. And we were invited to be part of the Reiki practitioners offering Reiki to Parkinson's people, because they have a relaxation room where people can get massage and acupuncture and treatments for their bodies while attending the venues and things like that. As it turns out, Lena and I, Healing Land Reiki, were the only 2 Reiki practitioners at the whole conference of 3,000 people. Things just worked out that way. It wasn't planned. And we were giving 15-minute Reiki sessions. And the persons with Parkinson's and their caregivers were getting such relief. There were people come in with big tremors, and their tremors reduced down. There were caregivers who were so overburdened and stressed from constantly caring for their loved ones, and they could get some relief. And so many of them started to, they said that when they got back to their homes, they were going to look into adding Reiki to their health and wellness regimen. But the one that stands out the most, that has the biggest impact on us, we had finished the conference and we'd closed down. And a man, unfortunately, was having a really bad day. His tremors were very, very intense. And they tried to comfort him, but we were closed. And so he and his wife were sitting there just trying the best they could. And Lena was guided to say, we were closed, but we think maybe we could help. And he jumped up, fine, whatever, just anything. And I mean, they were really desperate because it was really having a bad day. And so Lena and I called on all of our guides, all of the Reiki energy possible, one of us at his head, one of us at his feet, and we were doing the tandem Reiki. When I say Reiki, we were doing Holy Fire, Usui, Holy Fire, Karuna Reiki. We were putting every frequency of Reiki possible into him. And his wife is sitting there seeing her husband having tremors and convulsions, and seeing him go from trembling and convulsing to being perfectly still and having the deepest sleep. She started crying because the relief of just seeing him peaceful, not trembling, not tremoring, to the point where we started to give her Reiki and placed her hands on him so that the Reiki would flow through her to her husband, and so that she could get some relief. When he got up off the table, he started doing push-ups. He started doing like acrobatic spins. And do you do yoga?
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know, like the pose where you put one leg up. Basically, you're in a Y, like one leg up here, and you're holding it in your hand, and you're balancing on one foot. He did that. I have the video of it. I haven't put it out, but the Reiki energy had helped him so much that he's able to do that. And his wife was so appreciative. And he felt like I've never felt this good in my life. So we keep in touch and everything. And I did my best. It's like, look, when you guys get back to the States, we don't know how long the effect's going to last. But when you get back to the States, you might want to look into Reiki, adding it to all of the medications and extra and physical therapy, because if it could do this for him. And so we referred him to a practitioner in the States. And what's happened after that? Not to actually get back in touch with him to find out how was he doing. But that and the other experiences with people with having Parkinson's disease, I'll say it, this is the simplest way I'll say it. That's this long story short. If a person has been a skeptic about Reiki, they should have attended the 2019 Reiki conference and see the results with people with Parkinson's and what they said about their experience receiving sometimes just 15 minutes to 20 minutes of Reiki. That made me more of a believer and solidified my Reiki trust more than anything. And that's just one experience that I have of various ones. But that one right there, how he went from trembling and shaking, body out of control, to just doing standing Ys and push-ups and dancing, and seeing the relief of his wife. You cannot fake that. And that's what I'll give to the audience. You can't fake that. Reiki did that.
It's amazing. That's absolutely beautiful to hear. Like that's a miracle. That's really a miracle. That's some type of thing that's not supposed to happen, but this is what Reiki's capable of. And I'm sure it was so powerful to get to see it repeated with so many people so quickly, and then having that experience with that particular man and his wife, and you and Lena being able to treat simultaneously, and then involving her to even supercharge to the next level. Yeah, I'd be so curious to hear how he is, and if they continued looking into Reiki after that type of experience, but it's amazing. I've seen it myself too, just doing 10-15 minute sessions at psychic fairs and holistic fairs, like how quickly people drop into such a deep experience, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's already over. I checked out completely. It doesn't take long to drop in. It really can be
Gives
fast.
everyone what they need at the time that they need it. Even those 15-minute fairs, those are sometimes some of the coolest ones, especially when they've never had Reiki before. I'll be honest, I'll be like, I'm curious to know what Reiki does for them because it is very life changing. And I want everyone to experience that life-changing effect because all it takes is once. All it takes is one experience to be like, wow, this is what's possible. Yes, everyone can do this. Anyone can do this. You don't have, you're alive. You can do this for yourself. You don't have to become a practitioner, but just get this training, get this knowledge so you can work on yourself and your family. It's having a Reiki practitioner in every family is like having your first aid. It's like having, like you have just there are basic things you need in your medicine chest. You need a thermometer, you need some bandages, you need Reiki. You got to have Reiki in the house. There's so many people with high blood pressure. In addition to taking your medicine and going to the doctor and eating right, you can take it. Reiki helps you to take charge of your own health by giving you an extra tool that you have with you all the time. It doesn't require you to have anything in your hands. You are the instrument. That's what is so empowering. You are the instrument for your own self-development. And it's so empowering when it does that. Okay, now you got me started. Pardon me.
Yeah, I mean, that leads perfectly into the next question of how does Reiki enrich your life?
The self-empowerment. Because in addition to whatever else you're doing, we got to eat right. You got to eat your fruits and vegetables. You got to exercise. You got to get good sleep. You got to drink plenty of water. You need to connect, you need to plug into this universal life force energy to enhance yourself, to empower yourself. It's a self-empowering tool, self-empowering, and it works on your behalf. You can't, there's no side effects. What's the side effect to eating healthy, getting enough sleep, doing Reiki? There is no net downside to doing any of these things. So it enriches my life personally. It's expanded my circle of people. And Reiki has allowed me to be present in other locations and to help other people in ways that I could not do before, because at level 2, when you learn the distance symbol, I'm able to actually be more of an assistant and help my own family and friends in America and in other places than before. Yes, I can pray for them, but then I can do something actively to assist them more than if I were there in person. So that is how I mean, it's a long-winded answer, but if someone I know just yesterday, someone I know was going through some distress, and I just dropped into giving that person a good 20-30 minutes of Reiki on the spot. The person's in Los Angeles. I'm over here in Japan. But I was able to, with the help of the Reiki energy, help them. And she says, oh, she feels so much more relaxed. The stress she was going through, she's able to focus now. That's the benefits of Reiki. You can help the people you love on the spot in a way that's the best way for them and for yourself. Sorry if I'm repeating myself, and just you got me fired up.
No, I think that's so beautiful. I mean, that's one of my favorite aspects of Reiki as well, is like that multidimensional awareness. So we can, like, I live in Hawaii and I have many family members on the mainland, and it's so nice to stay connected with family and loved ones from far away. I get a call, I get a text, somebody or some animal needs it. I send, and then it's so incredible because it works. It works so well. And I mean, being on the receiving end, also, it works so well. It's phenomenal. It's totally phenomenal. So I'm in love with that
I
as
love it
well.
too. Totally, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. You're both a teacher of Reiki and then you're a school teacher as well. So can you talk about how Reiki enhances your professional life?
What I do when I go to the classrooms is that I will um first I do my own prayers for myself, but then I also what I do is I Reiki the classroom, cleanse it of any energies that are present, have been present from before. I put the Reiki into the walls so and I ground the room, because when you're dealing with little people of all ages, from 2 year olds all the way up to high schoolers, there's different energies. And also, there are many times when the little people are crying. There are times when the little people are feeling not secure. And so there have been times when like, you just pick up the child and just holding them, giving them comfort. And sometimes my Reiki will spontaneously activate. Like I'm not trying to give Reiki. Like there's times it's like it's okay, little person. And whoa, okay, that was not planned. Days that I tend to do my Reiki in my classroom, Reiki on the classroom, setting the atmosphere. I do find that sometimes the children do seem to be a little bit more focused, a little bit more gleeful. Now, it doesn't happen every day. Sometimes it's just the Reiki is helping me to get through the day, because sometimes those days are long. But I do take a minute to just kind of, and I do the dry bathing to keep the energetic field clear. And so having Reiki in the classroom helps to set the tone for the classroom. And it also gives me tools to help me to stay refreshed, because teaching takes a lot of energy and a lot of power. And then when you have all the different little personalities and energies, so it helps me to stay focused. And so I'll say it that way. Yeah. My little buds, little bodies, their little energies. It's like, let us all take a moment, take a deep breath, come back. Okay, now go off.
I love that. I mean, that's such a treat and a bonus to those kids who get to be in that atmosphere. They don't even know it.
No, the
And
parents
they're
don't know.
absorbing it. They're in that, they're held in that container of Reiki. That's, yeah, a real blessing to each of them. And I love hearing that it helps you really stay focused and clear in yourself in a position that can be draining and is so much work to be managing a classroom of so many different ages and energies and personalities.
When you're a teacher and you really strive to teach from your heart and your knowledge, but from your heart, the children absorb that, and they say, I want to do what you do, sensei. And it's like, oh, you do you? Maybe you will. I'm looking forward to it. You got to study a little things, but you can do it. And to see their little eyes light up, because I really have had that happen. Their little eyes light up. One of our students is about to graduate. She's 18, going off to university, and she's like been teaching them for over 11 years. It's like, I want to be an English teacher like you. And it's like, well, there's a lot more to me than being an English teacher, but that's a good start. That's a good start. That's a good start. So who knows?
Yeah, an English teacher with some strong Reiki on in the background and in the foreground,
Mhm.
surround ground.
Yes, yes. Up and down too, on the ceiling and
Yeah,
floor too.
yeah, everywhere. I would love to hear, what would you say to someone who's curious about Reiki, is interested, maybe considering a Reiki class or a Reiki session, a Reiki meditation, or engaging with the energy, maybe for a first time?
The first thing to know about Reiki, first for dear Mr. or Miss First Time, if you're even thinking about, maybe what exploring what Reiki is, that means you have been issued a invitation to self-empowerment. Because as we practitioners know, there was a time when we didn't know Reiki. We didn't have it. But something happened to cause us to take this journey, and looking back, we feel like we were invited. So if you are seeing this video or you're reading a magazine and you feel a curiosity, like, Reiki, should I? Know that you have been invited by a loving, caring energy that knows what you need to enhance the highest good in you. You and I would say, try it. All it took was one Reiki session for me to feel so good, and to see another side of my life that I didn't know was possible. That started me on my Reiki journey. Now, learning Reiki doesn't mean that you have to become a practitioner if you don't want to. There are many people who have mastered Reiki masters who you never would know are Reiki masters. They learn Reiki for themselves. And that's the thing that you as an individual need to know. Reiki is for you to use for yourself to enhance the positives in yourself. Whatever those positives are, no matter what your profession is, no matter what your gender, your race, your color, whatever is the good and healthy qualities and that are you, that make up you, Reiki enhances those, polishes them, puts um puts the coating on, helps those, brings out more of those positive qualities, and helps you to find things you didn't know that you had within you as well. So your good is already enhanced, and other positive qualities that you didn't even know are revealed. And that's why, for me, I mean, I didn't know that I had an interest in sound and light. I mean, I studied it in university, but the knowledge that I learned about sound and light in the university has become more enhanced when I learned about Reiki. And what Reiki, it's like I took that knowledge and I'm applying it to Reiki, and I'm able to communicate with more people and understand things better. And it can do the same for you in your life, in your field. If you're a dancer, it will enhance your dancing. You're a gardener, it'll enhance your ability to garden, because you'll be able to use Reiki on the natural plants and they will absorb it. It's natural for them, it's natural fertilizer without the smell.
Right. And you're the
So,
instrument.
and you're just the instrument. So this is, and it's the only way to not benefit from Reiki is to simply not receive not receive it, not learn it. But why would you choose not to receive an enhancement to your own life. Who would not want to say, here's the key, here's a key, not the, here's a key to bring out more of what makes you the good part of you. Who would not want that? So that's what I would say to the person who's maybe the first timer who is considering it and hasn't heard of it, or I don't know. That's what I would say to that person.
Yeah. Reiki can enhance for anyone who is willing to receive and is giving permission to Reiki to enhance them. Reiki is for everyone. Everyone who wants it, and plants and animals and all the others really love it as well.
We really have to we as Reiki practitioners really need to do a better job of bringing out that point that is for everybody. No matter who you are, it's for you. So I would like to try to encourage practitioners to let's do more to communicate that part of the message that is for Reiki is for you. Oh, that's a good someone put that. Reiki is for you. I'm going to use that.
Reiki is for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, are there any other words of encouragement you would like to give to our audience right now?
As light workers, which is what we as Reiki practitioners are, there's a lot of sadness and unfortunate darkness in the world at this time. We as Reiki practitioners, I would encourage us all to do more, to do what we can to let it be known that this modality exists and that it is practical. If you are a Reiki practitioner, let us do more to emphasize to the people around us the practicality of Reiki. Because I have found that a lot of people who don't have Reiki or know about it, that is the main question that they have. A person who drives I'm a truck driver. I haul goods across the country. How can Reiki help me? When we as Reiki practitioners think about that individual, or the individual who maybe works in refuse management, they're the quote unquote people who come to take away our garbage. Answer that person's question. How can Reiki help him or her? When we focus on the people who do not necessarily have the image of a Reiki practitioner, when we think about them, we'll find our hearts opening even more. How can we communicate to them that Reiki is beneficial for them? That expands our knowledge and ways of thinking about Reiki. And to the people who may not have Reiki and are maybe hearing this, it's not that you don't have anything to fear, you have everything to gain. You have everything to gain by receiving a Reiki session and learning about this life enhancing and enriching tool that's beneficial for you, your family, your community, everyone in the world, and everyone around you. Because if we each become if we just become the light within ourselves, and my neighbor becomes the light, and the other person becomes the light, pretty soon we're all illuminating, we're all together lighting up the room, and that dispels the darkness.
Yeah. I love that. Just hearing you talk about the truck driver, I'm imagining I saw a truck driver and I saw like their body just being relaxed when they're in the truck, because I've done so many road trips myself and I know how uncomfortable it can be to be driving that long. for the physicality, but also the mental focus and the energy it takes to like stay awake, stay alert, stay on top of things to remain safe. And yeah, that person, truck drivers would benefit on so many levels. I mean, imagine feeling comfortable in your body for that amount of time instead of having, the aches and pains and needing a bunch of caffeine to stay awake. And the same with someone responsible for the trash removal. I think about that actually every time I go to the dump here because our trash isn't collected in Hawaii. We actually take our own trash to a dump, which to me feels more honest anyway. You have to really think about it. And yeah, being in that space, like I'm always thinking, like sending my gratitude for the people who run that and manage that and are in contact with trash and waste and like those smells and the how it can be disgusting. But yeah, like so much gratitude for all the people and all the positions and all the ways we're working together to put on this human experience on earth. Like each role is so valued. And I think that's something that Reiki, through illuminating the authentic self of everybody and revealing the life purpose of everybody, we are all so needed and we can each be actualized to our next level of vitality and well-being and sense of purpose with this beautiful energy and with this beautiful tool. So that's really what your words are reminding me of. And in doing so, we do really illuminate that grid of light that we truly are. Yeah, we invite that in even stronger, even clearer, even brighter. Well, Muniqui, where can people find out more about you and connect with you?
Thank you. We have our website, healinglandreiki.com. You go there and you'll see our offerings, you'll see our classes, you'll see our experiences, and you can also on social media, also on our website, you'll find our web store where we'll see our custom Reiki shirts and also unique products from Mount Kurama, where Mikao Usui Sensei had his 21-day experience that led to him receiving Reiki. We have some unique offerings that we are the exclusive distributor of from Mount Kurama itself in our web store. You can find us at Facebook and Instagram under Healing Land Reiki. On Twitter, we are at Reiki_land. Again, that's Reiki_land. Since I am also a certified life coach, I also do life coaching sessions for people with or without Reiki. And so these are just some, and we teach all levels of Reiki, as you mentioned, from Reiki I to Master and Karuna Reiki Master, and Reiki Sound, and we do in person and over the distance. And we will be, as soon as Japan opens up, we will be offering classes at Mount Kurama, which is something that because we are here, we're in a position to do. And it's something that many people would like to have, to come to the mountain itself and take their classes. And of course, due to COVID restrictions, Japan is still not allowing people in. But when those restrictions are lifted, we do intend to resume having classes at Mount Kurama so that people can come and walk the path that Usui Sensei walked and experience and see where it is and what it is that he experienced. Because we have found that Reiki practitioners who do that have a deeper understanding of Reiki when they're able to come to the place where all the magic happened. And so we have those offerings. So yeah.
I'm sure it's phenomenal to be in the Reiki energy on Mount Karama.
It is a very special experience for people who would like to know that. They go to our web store. We take people on a virtual tour of Mount Karama through our pictures, and we even have a Reiki guided meditations where we take you spiritually and energetically to Mount Karama. So you can see the pictures through a visual tour, but you can also energetically connect to the mountain. And people who have not been to Mount Karama physically say that guided meditation really gave them something, a gift from the mountain. And people who have been to the mountain say that it feels like their experience that they had in person was refreshed to them through the guided meditation. So we do offer that as something that we offer for people to be able to experience the sacred mountain of Mount Karama. And it's something that near and dear to our heart.
Yeah, thank you so much, Muniqui. I will leave the links down below for everybody, all the places to find you, all the places to connect. And thank you so much for sharing your presence, your heart, your perspective, your experiences, your wisdom, your words here, your authentic self here today. Really appreciate you very much in the work you're doing in the world and the qualities you're embodying in the world. Thank you.
We appreciate you too. Mahalo nui loa. Gracias. Arigato. Shukran. Thank you so much, Taylor.
Mahalo.